Donald Trump's nightmare is now potentially a reality. He is in a statistical tie with Joe Biden in the red state of Texas in an election which really could go either way in Texas. Now, I obviously don't have to tell you, if Joe Biden were to win Texas, this will be a historic defeat for Donald Trump. This will be like something we've not seen in a very long time in American politics. But I also shouldn't have to tell you by now, but I will, that nothing is certain and everyone must vote. So in one new poll from Texas, from the Dallas Morning News, Joe Biden is now leading by 48 to 43. Now that's leaving 9% in the third party or undecided bucket. And they could break for the incumbent Donald Trump between now and November, and they may well do that. If you look at the averages of recent polling in Texas, it's not as bad for Trump. In the Real Clear Politics average, it's just a tie. In the 538 average, Trump is ahead by 0.1%. So understand that these are blended averages looking at recent polls. I don't know that the exact numbers are so important. Like if it's a tie in Texas versus if Trump's winning by 0.1 or if Trump or Biden are winning by 1, the point is it's close in Texas. And the story is the trend line. 3-4 months ago at the start of the pandemic, 5 months ago now, Trump was solidly ahead in every Texas poll by about 5 points. That lead has evaporated into what is now, listen, we can just say it's tight in Texas. Now, if you say to me, David, you've got to bet money who wins Texas in November, I'm still betting Trump wins Texas. And in fact, if you look at the betting market, 64% of people are still betting that Donald Trump wins the state of Texas. But 64% is actually quite low historically, because the last time that a Democratic presidential candidate won in Texas was Jimmy Carter in 1976. That's 44 years ago. So this could be a historic defeat for Donald Trump, or Trump might suppress just enough of the vote, lie and claim just enough of an accomplishment, I guess, on coronavirus or the economy to convince just enough people to vote for him. Just enough people might end up deciding to stay home if vote by mail isn't happening in their state and they feel that it's dangerous to their health to go out and vote. And he could squeak out another electoral win. Now, I want to be crystal clear about something here. The nightmare of Trump getting crushed in November will be nothing for him compared to the nightmare that he has subjected the United States and the world to for the last 3.5 years. And Trump may not have the nightmare of losing in November if we don't go vote and we get voters registered and we make sure that everybody votes. So this is the daily or weekly reminder. You've got to vote no matter what. Ask your friends if they are voting and encourage them to do so. We do not want 2016 all over again. Now, Texas is interesting for another reason. Texas is a story as much about gerrymandering as it is about Donald Trump not doing well. When you look at the districts, Texas is red. There's no denying it. But Texas is much less red than many other states. So, for example, Hillary Clinton got 43% of the vote in 2016 in Texas, 43% of the vote. For comparison, here in Massachusetts, Donald Trump only got 32% of the vote. So to put it a different way, Hillary Clinton's support in Texas was more than a third larger than Trump's support here in Massachusetts. Texas is much more purple than many other states that are considered solid red states. The thing about Texas is that it is hugely gerrymandered. And when you look at the House reality in the U.S. House of Representatives, when you look at the districts within Texas at the state level, the gerrymandering that has gone on there is responsible for Texas seeming much more red than it actually is, because 43% for the Democratic candidate in a state that is considered to be one of the reddest of red. Texas is increasingly purple. You look at places like Austin and other cities. It is a changing landscape, and let's see what we can do in 2020 to make it maybe the start of Texas being a swing state, Texas being a battleground state, which would be terrible at a systemic level for Republicans, as we've talked about many, many times. But assume nothing. Imagine that your one vote could be the deciding vote in your state. If you knew that could be the case, you would sure as hell go out and vote.